Good day to everyone. My name is CJ. I'm from NUMIT Engineering, Malaysia. I would like to show you our latest version of finemarine using the C wizard, which will help a lot of engineers as well as researchers in this setting up for this hydrodynamics CFD simulation for different case study. For example, like wave generations, shallow waters, planning how, and etc. So as you can see from the version of finemarine version 4.2, we have additional features which is using the C wizard, and I'm going to show you a very simple step of doing sea keeping analysis. And when you start your finemarine, you just select the using the C wizard and press OK. So you should be able to see the prompt up windows, which is to guide you to your CFD setup easily. As you can see from here, first of all, we would like to use either one of the features. You may use it for the resistance, the sea keeping, open water, as well as the planning region. Right. So for today, I would like to show you a simple steps using the features of sea keepings, and I prefer to use my own units, especially for the speed as the meter per second. And once you have confirmed the selection, just create project. You should save it somewhere safe. It's just rename as 1, and you should be able to go to the next page. So the second page basically try to ask you for your CAD model. In my case, I have my CAD model in this folder, which is in Parasolic. Well, you can see that this Parasolic has been simplified as well as has been being so-called divided into the half of it. And since that I would like to perform the asymmetrical analysis, so I'll ask you, do you want to have this body to be an input path? So just select yes. And the next thing that you want to do is to select the orientation of the body, which to tell the software to set up accordingly your domain, your so-called upstream as well the downstream. First of all, the body orientation. First of all, the body orientation is from center of gravity to the bow, which is from this somewhere in this point to the bow. In this case, we will have a negative x-axis, and from the center of gravity to the guide, we will have from this point to this point is to be your positive. Alright, so you can remain the rest as to be default and press on next. You can specify your speed as well. So in this case, I would like to maintain the swing speed. And I know from my case that the free surface is located at this level. Then just remain everything. I will generate the wave in these directions. Just put it as 0.1 height. So if you put 0.5 meters or 1 meter, so the wizard basically will set up the appropriate mesh accordingly. And I would like to perform the analysis on the shallow water, which is using the 1 meter, as well as if you put different depth, for example, like 2 meters or 4 meters, the setup of the wizard basically will set up your mesh differently. So let's see, for example, in 1 meter, and press on next. You can have additional features, for example, like activate the actuators, the drags based on the external force, as well as you can activate the grid refinement. So just to make it simple, so just press on next. Now, last but not least, the wizard will ask you to define your grid properties. For example, like you can choose the coarse, medium, or fine mesh density. So for the sake of this tutorial, just select on the coarse, and you can go to advanced as well to generate this the wall function by using a compute. Alright, so that's as easy as possible. So in this case, I would like to simplify my group of surfaces during my meshing. So I just merge the faces with the same name, okay? And as well as I just keep this as default. Then you should be able to go to the follow the wizard and pressing on the start mesh. So now the software is switching to Express and is waiting for a command from the wizard as well. Just hold on for a while. So it's trying to create the domain right now, as you can see from the background. And once the external box has been created, so you perform the boolean operation. So once the boolean operation is done, it will create so-called the .dom file. And this is the .dom file, right? So you can see that the shape is located above 1.0 meter, which is the shallow water. And once done, you can have either the option of continue using the wizard or just check manually the mesh first. So I just ask the wizard to perform the meshing for me if I want to press on this button. But however, I just would like to reduce the mesh size during the tutorials. So as you can see, once you have pressed the button, then you should be able to do your analysis, your check manually. So in this case, the refinement has been done automatically as well using the wizard, which you tell the software to perform the shallow water at 1 meters depth. So these are all the accordingly, right? So just like to reduce some of the mesh set as well in this case. Perhaps I just would like to reduce down to 6, for example, 6 as well. So just perform 2. Alright, so this is just for the sake of tutorial. Okay, and I have 6 of these as well, so I just reduce one order. So you don't have to do that if you have more RAM capacity. But in my case, basically, I have only 6 gigabyte, so I have to be aware of that, right? So you just step, okay, and you see that this is done, and you can view the mesh. So you can do it by using the start button as well, so to automate the mesh creation. Alright, so we will just wait a while, and you may notice that the working is being done. So for the moment, we do not have to modify any of the mesh properties because it's being driven by the wizard. Remember that if you create a depth of 1 meter, so you create a different set of properties of mesh. If you define 2 meter depth, 5 meter depth, so each of them basically will have its own set of mesh properties. Instead of that, if you create a wave, and let's say for example, if you put 0.1 meters as an amplitude, so it will have different mesh properties as well. Then if you go up to 2 meters or 3 meters, so it will have different so-called the mesh properties in this case, right? So the wizard basically is helping most of the engineers and most of the users, okay, to set up their own case by means of automation. So the wizard basically is built up with a lot of experience from our developers, with a lot of the exposure with different cases, and what are the best settings to be used in different cases will be driven by the C wizard. Alright, so in this case, we are in the step of optimizations, and we have created around 300,000 mesh, and you may notice the number of mesh on the left bottom. Okay, so mostly this is driven by automation as well, so we don't have to worry on anything. But in the meanwhile, if you do not like the value that proposed by the wizard, so while for on and off you can make your own additions. So we are now in the